Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Live with Roger Hanson. Today's topic is video games or gaming, and I've been going through a series of emulators that I have been using in the past year to see how they work and stuff like that, because I've always been curious about emulators. My son moved in with me about 3 years ago. He's moved out now, but before he left, he showed me how to set these emulators up, and I was able to go through and finally play them, see how they played and stuff. So I have already gone through quite a bit of them, and or not quite a bit, actually, about 4 of them. And last week I went and covered RPCS3. I've covered Zemu and Ryujinx, things like that, or those emulators. But I wanted to hold off on this one, which is one of the most popular for retro gaming. It's RetroArch, and the reason why I want to do that is because these are the emulators that are fine. You know what I mean? They are fine to play, but they do have their problems. So this time I'm going to cover RetroArch, and like I said, it is the most popular among the retro games, but I do want to point some things out about it. Before I do that, let me go and open it up. That way we can have it available whenever I get to it. And I also want to show you the website that you have to go to in order to get the download for it. So let me go ahead. That's the UI that you get when you do finally have RetroArch. But I'm going to take you to the website where you need to go to download it. Now this is the RetroArch download site. I'm not going to mention the URL. It's right there up on top. If you guys want to go there, feel free to do so. Now I'm not sure what the laws are specifically and how they take care of emulators, but I'll go over it again. What I found when it comes to emulators is that playing an emulator isn't illegal. It's also not illegal if you pull the ISO or the ROM off of a game that you own. That's perfectly legal. Now, if you take and you play that game on the internet, I don't know how that is illegal or not illegal. I don't know if it's even a legal issue. What I do know about it being illegal is if you go onto these websites and you download an ISO or a ROM off of a website that doesn't actually belong to you physically, you are breaking the law. That's piracy. Now, I've done research, and so far I haven't even found so much as a court case concerning these emulators whatsoever. But I also have to clarify something, because I've said that in the past. Most of the time when it comes to copyright infringement, what you usually get is threats from your internet provider threatening to shut down your internet. So that could be something that might happen, so don't think I'm saying that like it's written in stone, okay? Just because you don't get criminal charges brought against you, that doesn't mean that there won't be some kind of consequence. So just remember, if you go on the websites and you download them, then that's an act of piracy, copyright infringement, and stuff like that. As long as you are able to pull the game off of your cartridges or your discs or whatever form they're in, and you're using that, then that's fine. I would also suggest keeping the disc and everything that you bought from the store. Keep it, don't throw it away, because if anything does happen, you'll have that to prove that that's where you got your game from. So with that being said, this is the website where you go to. It gives you an option of getting RetroArch or try RetroArch online. Now, the features are shown here. Polished interface, browse your game collection through a beautiful set-top box-oriented menu. After scanning your collection, games will be sorted by system, and the menu supports thumbnails and features various animated backgrounds. Now, these are cores, and you can get the Citra core, which is something that I'm going to be using shortly, but for me, I want to use Citra by itself instead of doing it through RetroArch. A lot of these cores, you can actually get the emulator separate from RetroArch, and I suggest that on some of them. There's some games that play better on the emulator that they were made for rather than using RetroArch to do it. So I do suggest using the emulators, learning how to use them, stuff like that, because that's a lot better. So now what we do is we come in here. I'm not going to download it, I'm just going to show you. You come in here and it has cross-platform. RetroArch can run on the usual platforms like Windows, Mac OS, and Linux, but it stands alone in that it can support far more platforms beyond just that. We support operating systems that not even Microsoft and Apple themselves support anymore, such as Mac OS and PowerPC Macs. And RetroArch being available on Windows OSs as far back as Windows 95. On top of all that, RetroArch also runs an iOS and Android for tablets and phones, as well as on game consoles like PS2, PS3, PSP, PS Vita, Wii, Wii U, 2DS, 3DS, Switch, and more. Now, I wouldn't go as far as to say Switch, because Switch is pretty new and updated. I've tried Ryojinx on here and it does not work, so I wouldn't go that far, just from my personal experience. Now, RetroArch is available on many popular storefronts for free, including Steam, Amazon App Store, Samsung Galaxy Store, Huawei App Gallery, and Google Play. This current stable version is 1.16.0. Not sure what version to get. Click the stable button below for a stable build, or nightly for the latest daily release for your platform. Now I'll click the daily or the download stable, and it'll bring you here. Now understand, these are usually zip files, so make sure too that you put them in download instead of in a program. Now this is what happens when you click download the nightly, and they are showing as applications, so this could be something new that I'm not aware of. They usually come as zip files, so I take and put them into my download file, and then I unzip them from there and move them to where I want to move them, instead of having them in my documents file. Now, when we get into that, that is another thing that I'd like to also mention to you. Now, I could easily put this into my C drive, okay? And what I want to show you is there's two options on where you can send your file. Now, it's completely up to you how you want to do this. This is my C drive. So I have the option of bringing it into my local disk C drive and coming down here to users, Hansen, and then down to app data. Okay, I believe it's in local. Right here, you can set up a file in here for your now I'm forgetting what game RetroArch in here, which I don't have. So, and the reason why I don't have it in here is because I don't put my emulator games in here. But you can come in here, you can right click, and you can create a new folder. Come in here, create a new folder, name it RetroArch, and download or unzip your file and send it here into your app data. That's one option. But what I've found with RetroArch is I can come to my documents. I set up a folder for emulators, and then right here I have my RetroArch folder there, as well as my other emulators. I come in here, and right here I put the information that's needed for RetroArch there. And being honest with you, it's not really needed even for the emulator, because I come in here and it's just an empty folder. So it's automatically put in there. So now that I've covered that, I do want to get into the actual RetroArch, let you guys see what it looks like. When it downloads and it's done, it's gonna look like this, and you have a lot of different functions that come with this. And on the UI, for example, the one good thing that I do like is you don't have to use the keyboard and the mouse to function around. Like right here, I'm doing all of this, and I'm doing it with my controller. Not only with my controller, but I'm using it with my left hand stick. So I'm scrolling up and down like that. If I want to select something, I just hit the X. Or actually, I don't know if it's the X on this. But yeah, I think it's the A button. Yeah, so say I want to go to the main one, I hit A, and it opens up the main menu, or it takes me to the main menu. I can quit RetroArch, I can restart it, configure file, load content, and this is the cores too. So now I hit load core. Say I want to play Nintendo Game Boy, which is color and Gambit, and that by the way, is one that I use the emulator by itself because I use Pokemon and Pokemon Gen 1, and it has it works better on the Gambit emulator than it does here on RetroArch. But anyhow, I can get it here. Alright, I can load it and then load content. You come in here and you hit load content. So I want to get Pokemon Yellow Gen 1. So instead of going to C+, which I can do, I can come here, browse folders. I can also come here to C, which is easier for me because I know the path file for where it's at, and I just come in here, come down to Hanson, documents, go into emulator games, RetroArch, and I look for Pokemon Yellow. Now right here I have Pokemon Yellow here, and right there. Oh, back up, that was just a picture. Okay, so I do it again, come in here. It's been a while since I've had to play Pokemon, and I don't really use RetroArch for it. I'm just trying to use it as an example. And Gambit doesn't work for all of them either. So specifically, this is mostly set up for other games like I've had, but I use Gambit specifically for Pokemon Yellow. So let me come in here again. I use the top one, and there it is. Now, I've got the controller, I believe, set up, but if it's not set up, yeah, see, I have no problems with using the controllers, but the reason why I have no problems with the controller is because I already have it set up and ready to go. So what I can do is go back in and I can show you guys how you set up your controls. Now this is the point where I was telling you in my previous videos about it. Get used to using emulators before you do this, because this can get pretty complicated real quick. On the basic setup for RetroArch, it's easy, but if you don't really know what you're doing, you'll have a hard time with doing this right here. Now this is your settings. You go to input. Now down here you have to make sure wait, no, see, it's been so long I don't even know if I have to come in here. Port 1 controls. Now this is your dialogue, all of this is what controls your D-pad and D-pad up, down, left, right, all this. You click on it, and then right where you see those little white dots, that's your D-pad, and you have to touch that to confirm it, and it'll show right there on the right hand side. So you do have to do that. And then right here where the select button is, the start button, then you have the left button up on top, I believe. Yeah. And then the right button, shoulder. And then they go through the triggers, all of that. So you have to set all of this up. Now, I believe that they also, yeah, you can set all controls, but you do have to do all that in order to have control with your controller. So this is what I was saying to, like, just mentioning to you. You do have to wait, I'm not even showing you guys. Let me go through. I forgot to switch it around. I apologize. Okay, so let me go back through. Okay, this is the settings. Input. You come all the way down here. Port 1 controls. And here's where I'm talking about. Like right here, you have D-pad up. You click on that with your control A button, and then you have to hit your D-pad up, and right over on the right hand side it'll confirm that that's what you did. And you always have to keep track, and then you do the down button, the left button, the right button, all the way here to the start select, and then the shoulders. So I apologize about not even showing that. That's a no-brainer. I need to stay on my on my OBS so that I can see what's going on. But that is how you have to set that up. And I'll continue where I was, but this is the point where I said you need to make sure that you've got a little bit more experience with the easier emulators before you come in to do this. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of easier stuff on the RetroArch that you don't have on the other games too, but that is pretty complicated. Now, like here, you have your history. That means I can come in here and I can play some of the older games without having to shuffle through and look for them. It keeps track of all of it, like Felix the Cat, Herzog's Way, and Pokemon. All of that is stuff that I've previously played on here. So you got that. Then you've got your favorites. I have Contra and Pokemon there. You can put videos on here and images, and I've got Lost Planet 3 on there. And then videos, I don't have any. Now, NetPlay is something I do want to check out. I haven't done it yet, but me and Rapids have been going and doing some stuff with what is that? Zelda, The Adventures of Zelda, and we use a different emulator so that we could all play together. And it's just got me more curious about NetPlay because I have been curious about it. I just haven't used it yet. Now, this is import content. Now, this is pretty good. This is something that most of the emulators don't have. Had to take my drink of coffee real quick. Now, if I want to scan the directory, what I do is I hit there, come here, it says scan documents and settings, directory not found, scan. Okay, so I come here, I go to users, down to Hanson, and then down to documents. Just like with the actual single games, you come in here and say I want to scan Don Bly presents the Dragon Lair trilogy. I hit scan, and you see that little blue check mark. It says that it scanned it. Now, if it picked up on it, what happens is it sets up this right here for Game Boy, Nintendo, Mega Drive, and PlayStation 2 and PlayStation. So I've scanned these. I've got Intelligence Cube, I've got Tenchu, EA Sports Supercross there. Then I have the Matrix, Path of Neo there. I've got Mutant League Football and Herzog Zwei and Mega Drive. Then Nintendo, I've got Bomberman, Super Mario 64, and Game Boy. I believe that's Pokemon. I'm not sure, but I'm not going to state that because it's all written in Japanese. Now, that is how you import content. Now, you can come in here and just do single files, okay, and it's the same way. Just come into Hanson, and if you have it in app data, you come in here and look, and it does the same thing. And like I said, I don't have anything for RetroArch, so this is just a lot of the stuff that I have in here. Yeah, I don't have anything in that area, but if I hit the B button, it'll back me out of that, and I can go from app data to documents, and then from documents I come to emulator games. I'll come down to PCSX2. Now, Ghostmaster Chronicles. Now, what I do is click on here, and it's scanning, and it's scanned and finished. I know I didn't have that on RetroArch too, so now I can actually come in here, and it should be there if it picked up on it. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, it's not there. And that's one thing too that you have to realize too. It doesn't work all the time. So you you will have to go through with RetroArch and manually do what I've been doing, searching them out. So you have to become familiar with all this stuff, or be familiar with all this if you do all this. Do use RetroArch. And like I said, you can do the RetroArch off of Steam, and I believe the UI for that's even more simple than what it is on here if you're using a console. So I've never used Steam to get RetroArch. For me, it's a little weird, you know what I mean? So I don't know if I'd ever want to do that. Just I mean, that's just me. So here we have load playlists. Do I have anything? No, I don't. So the next thing I should probably mention is cores. Okay. Now, you can change core settings. Manage cores. These are like the BIOSes and stuff that you have to have in order to play the games. Now, this right here isn't where you go to mess with all that, just so you know. I was just using it as a load, or as an example. Now what you want to do is you want to come in here, you want to load the chord. The game that you're playing, say, is on Nintendo. So you have Nintendo 64, and then you have Game Boy, which is Gambit. You can also play Sega Dreamcast, Mega Drive, MSGG. As you go through, you'll learn what all these are. You got like MSGG, MD, CD, Genesis Plus, GX, Wide. You'll learn that as you go through. So you'll have to become familiar with it. Like there's Genesis plus GX. This is all for Genesis. And then Sega Saturn. Then you come into the PlayStation, Beetle, PSX, and Rearmed. That's another one. Swan Station, LRPS2. Now, I haven't played that one yet, but I've actually known about it and everything. I want to check that out. But this is where you come to load a core. And then after you load the core, you come in here and you load content. So you come in, like I said, you hit the C+, and then you come down to users, Hanson, which is my computer name, and documents is where I put them. Like I said, you can do it in the app data too. I've got a folder set up for emulators and emulator games. So say I want to do Hershog's Way. I come in here and they give me an option on which one I want to use. So I'm going to use the Sega Mega Drive Genesis Blast 'em. And you got these other options. If this doesn't work, then I go on to the next one until it does work. Right here, I'll hit start, see if the controller's set up. I'm pretty sure it is, but I'll double check. So, I hit start and it did do this. And, right there. So, that is started up. The controllers do work. So that is how you, that's how you freaking set it up, I guess. And then the one issue that I do have is like when you quit a game, RetroArch just goes off. So that means each time you have to end the game, you've got to go in and start RetroArch up again. Now, if you don't want to do that, you do have another option, which I can show you. And I really shouldn't have said you have to do that, because you don't. Let me show you something. So say, oh crap, I gotta stop doing that. Now say I want to go in here and I want to run this game. So what I have to do now is, if I want to back out of here, I come over to my keyboard, and I hit, well, I gotta be careful there, even, so, I'm supposed to hit F11 or F12, one or two, I keep forgetting. And like I said, I don't, yeah, F1, I hit F1, and it gives me the option there to resume, restart, close content. So I can hit F1, close content, and it does take me back, and it closes out the game. So I really shouldn't have said that, so I apologize for that. At one time, it was constantly me doing that until I started getting into learning the keypads, or the keyboard, and incorporating it in with using the controller. Now, I mentioned this with the other emulators. Be safe about where you go to get your emulator games. A lot of these games you can get on the website that I suggested, which is Vimslayer, but some of them you can't. So when you go to a lot of these, you need to be careful on where you go to. My second choice would be let me pull it up because it's been a while. They have a few of them that are out, but the ones that I really go to, because I'm really touchy about it, I don't go to too many of them to get these things, so I'm really careful. But the ones that I really do go to is ROM's Games, I believe. No, it's not. It's I'm looking for it now. It's been a while since I've done these for RetroArch. Then I really stay away from a lot of these websites. The only one that I've really found that's real trustworthy is Vimslayer, to be honest with you. There's sometimes where I do go into other ones for the newer ones, but I don't go into too much. Because these websites aren't really all that trustworthy, so let me see here. Cool ROMs, that's it. Cancel. Yeah, here we go. Now this is the site that I'll go to if I have to, but I don't even trust this one 100%. Cool ROMs is something that you have to be careful about. You can get good ROMs and ISOs from here. Hold on a minute, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So, this is where I said before, you have to be real careful about this place because they do have a lot of ROMs and there are a lot of good ones, but make sure that you're real careful with these. I wouldn't trust any of the main ROMs, so I would keep that real. I'd stay away from that, to be honest with you. Now they do have popular emulator sections, Game Boy emulators, DS emulators, Nintendo emulators, SNES. You can check those out. They have a list of them. I've never used any of those for that system whatsoever. DS, Game Boy Advanced, all these. Never used those. Yeah, I've never used any of these right here. This is for Mac, or that's for Mac users too, I believe. Oh no, it says Mac user, visit our exclusive Macintosh emulator section here. Mac name Stella, I know of that one. I've tried Atari 800 Mac X once, and that's on accident because I didn't know what the heck that was. But you can find out what emulators to use for games on Macintosh. And let's see here, Nintendo emulators. Yeah, see, I've never used any of these. Hey, SNES, 9X, ZSNES, they do give you good emulator suggestions, I guess, but Vim's Lair, this one is the one I use. So when I come in here, if I want to find out about the emulators, I believe their emulators are, list of emulators are here. Emulator Lair. Yeah, you got emulators. It's Stella, Altera. All of them are listed right here and what they're compatible with right here. So if I can't find anything off Vim's Lair, then I'll go to Cool ROMs, but that's about all I will do. I sometimes go into Nexus. The only way I get anything from Nexus is if they're listed in on their Discord server as being a new release or a fixed link, because they have a lot of dead links, and when you go in there to try to download them, you'll get spam, and you do not want to pup on your computer. Okay, so be careful when it comes to using Nexus, and make sure that when you do go in to do a game, you hook up with them on Discord. That way you know what they're doing, or what they're doing at that moment, you know what I mean? Because you don't want to just go on Nexus and just randomly pull a game off there that you like, because there could be a chance that that link is maybe 5 years old and dead and spammy. So just be real careful with them. Now PCSX2, that's the one I've used. I've got Dolphin, Zemu, Xenia, and RPCS3. Pretty good ones so far. Never used Same Boy or Virtual Boy Advanced. I've seen this MGBA. I've never used it, but I've heard of it. The PPSSPP, that's one that I believe I've used, but I don't really know for sure if I have. So That's a rundown of them. Then you come down here to the vault, and right here for each system they've got lists of games that are available that you can go to and get. But yeah, that's basically my rundown on the RetroArch. Like I said, if you get these, you technically are committing piracy. Okay. So be aware of that if you do it. It's your call on that. I have no opinion on it. The people who have determined they don't want you to play these games make absolutely no profit off of these games anymore. So I don't even have a moral opinion on it. It just, well, I do, but I don't want to say it out loud. But I do have to say, if you have no problem with it and you're not afraid of getting in trouble, then go for it. I mean, I'm not saying I endorse it or I don't endorse it. I just, I have no problem with it whatsoever. So I'm not going to be sitting here saying frickin', we don't, I don't give a shit. I'm not setting up a website trying to sell you guys emulator games, so I'm just giving you a little feedback on what I've learned. And if you guys, have enjoyed what you've learned, then give it a try. And I hope you guys enjoyed, what you've seen so far. Next week I'll come back with another emulator and my take on it. After that, that's going to be the last gaming video that I make for the year until right around June or July next year. But don't worry, if you want to watch these again, I have them on Rumble. I've also got them on YouTube. YouTube transfers them over to BitChute. I've got them on Odyssey, and in the beginning of January I'm going to be transferring these to my podcast, which is Spotify for podcasters. So they'll be run again, like with all the other topics I have. And so if you guys want to support that, catch them there. And I will be coming out with more videos on gaming after June or July of next year. And also like interviews. I'll still be doing interviews as they pop up when it comes to gamers. So if you guys are into gaming and you want to do an interview with me, hit me up, let me know. I really enjoyed doing that with you guys, so just send me a message, make a comment in the video comments if you want to do an interview. I'm open for anybody. If you play a game and you want to talk about it, then let's talk, so hope you guys enjoyed, and with that I am going to end the stream. Thanks for sticking around and listening to me mumble, jumble, whatever. Have a good day, guys.